pre-circuit. Hij vormde een winnend team met zijn manager Ken Terrell.
In my period, he was a father figure, he was the boss, he was the friend, he was the confidant, he was the fixer. He was everything. I think he was the right man and I was the right man for him at the right time. I think my best race, I would class as my best technical race, was Monza in '73. But I drove it in the fashion that I had developed in the way of a skill over my years as a Grand Prix driver, in that I personally believe that you have to be clinical when you drive to the highest level, or even perhaps do anything. Terrible fog and visibility and abominable conditions was probably will go down as my best race, because I won by more than 4 minutes on a circuit that had 187 corners every lap at that time, around 14.7 miles or 23 kilometers. And that, I think, probably was my best achievement for my own controlling my abilities versus the elements. I think before I had an accident at Spa in 1966, I thought I could walk on water. I really didn't think it would ever happen to me. Like everyone else, they think it's someone else's accident that's going to happen. When I had it, I suddenly became very vulnerable. I suddenly became aware that accidents did occur. But, you know, motor racing accidents don't hurt. The violence of the accident, the speed of the accident, you're so consumed doing what you're trying to do to retrieve the car, to avoid the accident at all. You're living with that. There's no long period of waiting for the bang. Accident, you're numb, so you're lying there, but you're confused because you're trapped in the car. And in my case at Spa, it was a wet day. It was a dry day at the start of the race and a wet circuit halfway around, and they didn't tell us, and 7 Grand Prix drivers went off on the one corner. I wasn't one of them. I passed that corner and got to the next corner and aquaplaned as they had done, and this time it caught me. And I ploughed into a telegraph pole, a woodcutter's house, and finally into the sort of basement level of a farmhouse. But I was trapped in the car. And of course, I was conscious and then going out and coming in. And I was terribly confused by my restriction of not being able to move. I had broken a collarbone and some ribs and had done some other damage. But more than anything else, I was trapped. The statistics apparently stated that you had a 2 out of 3 chance of being killed if you lasted 5 years in the business. And that's a horrible batting average. So therefore you were exposed to lots of accidents that sadly took life. And somehow you became accustomed to dealing with it. We were doing the thing that we most wanted to do. And if we died doing it, it was no loss to us that life was taken of ourselves. Of course it was selfish. Of course it didn't care for those who were left behind. But racing drivers are very selfish. They're individualists to the highest degree. There's very little team spirit in a racing driver. In fact, we were found by some survey in America that turned out that we were the most antisocial individuals in any sport in relation to our own selfish desires for success. And I think it's true. But death never doesn't touch you. In March of 1973, I suddenly got to a point where I didn't think I could take it anymore. It's strange because there I was living the almost idyllic life, the jet set, the travel, the good hotels, the great friends, the influential people, the money, everything else was right. And I was successful. I was still winning. But I had literally burned out. I think the major reason is that I've retired from my family, for the children and for Helen, because I think that I've been a racing driver long enough. I've enjoyed it enormously, but I think it is my responsibility to retire for their sake, for their future. I would maybe appear to be a softer, nicer person if I said I did it for Paul and Mark or I did it for Helen. I honest to God didn't. I did it for me. Now, they were there. I hated to see Paul at that time who had a nervous twitch. And I don't know why he had it to this day. Hair that didn't exist. Little things. They came back asking when their father was going to die because everybody else's father died if they were racing drivers. All of these things happened and they affected me terribly. But they didn't make me stop.
Jackie Stewart is tegenwoordig een welgesteld zakenman. Hij verdeelt zijn tijd tussen reizen en het testen van auto's. Al jaren woont hij hier in Zwitserland.
Well, I see home in the house that we've lived in now for many, many years and where we've brought our children up in. And that is near Geneva, between Geneva and Lausanne, a little village called Bignan in Switzerland. I still call home home, I think, Scotland, because when I go back up to Gleneagles, where I have a shooting school today, and that's a strong part of my life today, I still feel very much at home in the environment of Scotland.
Stewart's schietschool in het Schotse Gleneagles speelt een grote rol in zijn leven. Hier ook houdt hij zijn jaarlijkse party voor genodigden van stand. Jackie Stewart ontwikkelde al jong een voorliefde voor de schietsport. Kleiduivenschieten was een passie. In 1960 maakte hij zelfs deel uit van het Britse team.
Oh, in 1960 to the Rome Olympics there was a selection series that I competed in, and at that time I was at my best in shooting. I was lying second very comfortably for a two-man team only. And on my 21st birthday, on the very final day of the Olympic trials in Beverley in Yorkshire, I had one round of 25 where I think I missed 8 targets. And those 8 targets were more than I had perhaps missed in the previous 300. And I have no accounting for it. I lost my timing. I didn't lose my cool. I just could not get my timing back. Shooting is very much into timing and speed and how hand and eye coordination works. And at that, 20-minute spell, if you like, I blew it. And it was the biggest disappointment of my life in sport.
Stewart heeft leesmoeilijkheden. Hij is dyslexisch. Op school ging het dan ook helemaal mis. Maar zijn succes als schutter hield hem overeind. Zijn jongste zoon Mark deelde de liefde voor het kleiduivenschieten met zijn vader. Hij heeft zeker het talent van zijn vader geërfd.
That's £100, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know how to tell you this, Mark. I've only got 25.
I'll take that.
Right, I owe you £100.
I like the picture of the Queen.
Very good. Very good.
Very good. That's great.
Thank you.
Stewart is nog steeds op de racecircuits te vinden. Maar nu als raadgever voor zijn andere zoon, Paul, die aan het begin van zijn racecarrière staat. Moeder Stewart ziet het met ledenogen aan.
Last year when I did watch him with Jackie, I said, do you feel what I feel? He said, oh yes. I don't know if I can cope with it. Most of his life, I sort of made little remarks about, you don't want to be a racing driver, do you? And he said, me? No. And then when he was 17, he went to a race with Jackie, and he finally decided in his head that he would like to become a racing driver, or have the chance to race at some point in his life, not necessarily do it professionally. But anyway, Jackie decided that he should finish his studies, and then if he started before then, he wouldn't give him any support at all.
First one's over. Yeah. What are you doing right now?
Roy Top was my mechanic. The biggest compliment I can give Roy Top is that I would give my son's life in his hands to prepare my son's car. But more than that, I can't. I can't do anything for him on the track. He's got to live his own life out there. I would just rather that he was doing something else.